There are hundreds of AI tools out there and thousands of different workflows you could build, but only a handful of them are actually useful. I'm about to show you the 7 AI systems you need to build a profitable e-com brand in 2026. But first, let me show you what one of my automations sent me this morning. Every day at 8 a.m., this system scrapes my competitors and pulls their top performing video ads and breaks down exactly why they're working. The hooks, the psychology, and the script structure. Then it sends me the full report with zero manual effort needed on my end. Alright, we are inside of Airtable, and before I take a look at the report, I just want to show you how we trigger the flow to run in the first place. So it's really simple. The only thing we need to come in and add is a name for the competitor and adding their Facebook page ID. Once that's done, we can just either trigger the flow to run manually whenever we want, or we can obviously set up a recurring run where this runs daily, weekly, or whatever. Now for the actual report itself, we are pulling in the longest running video ads from a competitor that are still active. So you can see here that we have scraped ad number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and 5. And for the actual ads, we are pulling in the actual ad.
So Glossier is making a new fragrance called Glossier You Fleur.
We're then doing a quick analysis of the awareness level this ad is hitting, the angle, the target audience this ad is going after, and then we do a deep analysis of the actual video script where we break down the script line by line. So we have the opening line right here. We then classify what this line is doing. We go into line number 2 and then the same thing. So essentially just breaking down the transcript line by line and really understanding and getting a deep analysis of why or what this transcript is doing. Then at the end, we do a quick kind of like overview analysis of the script entirely, where we kind of like go through, in this case, the big idea, the identity resonance, the unique mechanism the ad is hitting, the social proof overload, some authority and exclusivity, the proof stack, and then the low friction CTA at the end. Then we do the exact same thing for ad number 2, ad number 3, and so on. Now for the actual flow inside of N&N, it's a pretty beefy flow. So to quickly go through it, what we essentially are doing is pulling in the record ID here, which contains the Facebook page ID that we're scraping. We are passing that into a HTTP request node going to ForPlace API, which we are using to pull in all of the ads, where we can see that the Facebook page ID field here is dynamic. We are then just sorting or filtering by longest running ads that are still active. We're limiting to the top 10 right here, where the format is video only. We're then basically just sorting by the longest running ads and then filtering or limiting to the top 5 ads only, pulling in all of the stats for those 5 ads right here. And then essentially the main key part of the flow comes up here, where we are then analyzing the video using Google Gemini. So you can see right here that we have all of the 5 ads right here on the left. We're passing them into Google Gemini to do a analysis where we have it identify and summarize the key elements that could inform ad research. So like the main visual components, the text elements, and so on. We then do the exact same for the transcript, where we do a full breakdown of the script, pulling that from the video. We're then merging those 2 fields together with all of the previous ad data, passing that into the main AI agent node right here, which acts as a senior direct response copy chief trained by top advertisers. The job is to analyze winning ads and reverse engineer their structure, persuasive flow, and psychological techniques. And then you can see right here that we have the rules that the agent is to preserve every line exactly as written, label each line using bracketed tags, and then break it down by the hook, the story setup, symptom onset, and so on. And then for part 3, diagnose why it works, and then reference a simple framework like this. Then we essentially just pass the full analysis into a markdown file. We turn that into a Google Doc. And then once that's done, we just update the record back in Airtable. And then we have the finished Google Doc link right here. Now the first system here is super powerful, but for flow number 2, we're going to show you how you can create high quality AI UGC for 20 cents a pop, so you can test as many ads as you need. All right, for flow number 2, we are using Sora 2 to generate high quality AI UGC. I mean, you can create any types of videos that you want really with Sora 2, but obviously we're capped by the 12-second length, so it works mostly, in my opinion, for short form AI UGC. As always, we're just using this Airtable to trigger the flow, so we can just come in and add a product name, a simple prompt for the video, right, as an example right here. We upload a reference image if we want to have that, the number of videos that we want to generate, the aspect ratio, and then we just run the flow. Once the flow is done, we have a full overview here of all of the videos generated, and I just figured I'd show you a couple.
Oh my god, you guys. I just tried these groons and I'm literally obsessed. Like, they taste so fresh and green, I can't even explain it. You have to try them.
Okay, I have to show you this. So I'm sitting here with my grunes, and honestly, so much better than those green juices that taste like awful. Why suffer through it? You're gonna thank me later, promise.
I mean, obviously the packaging looks amazing, as you can see right here, and the quality is crazy good. That's the strong side of Sora. One thing to note, obviously at the start here, you have the reference image. This is just because with Sora 2, the flow works, or how it works right now when you upload a reference image, is that's the first frame of the video. So you can just crop this part out and then obviously just get right into it. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. Other than that, I mean, quality is amazing and such a great way to just pump out a high number of variations of UGC ads. For the actual flow itself, we have a two-step flow right here where the essential part of the flow is just getting the record ID from Airtable containing all of the information. We're essentially passing the reference image into Cloudinary just to kind of like have a public URL that we can store for later. We are then analyzing the reference image using OpenAI's Analyze Image node. We're passing that information into the merge node, which is just passing the analysis along with the image ad, which is uploaded into a shared folder. We then aggregate that data. We then pass the prompt into our node, which is essentially just optimizing the prompt for a 12-second video gen, where we kind of like have some rules here in terms of like what to actually include and not include in the prompt. So do not include any additional text, instructions, or explanations. The response should just be the structured prompt. And then we pass that into the master prompt node right here, which is essentially just mapping out what our main idea is, how many videos we want to generate, the aspect ratio, the reference image, and then the actual master prompt. And if I just go back here, we have that in the previous node that I skipped over, but essentially this is the framework for the video prompt that we want. So you can see right here that we have this set to be a expert at creating authentic UGC video scripts that look like someone just grabbed their iPhone and hit a record, shake your hands, natural movement, zero production value, no text overlays, no polish. The goal is to create exactly a 12-second video script with frame-by-frame detail that feels like genuine content someone would post and not manufactured ads. They will be provided with an image that includes a reference to the product, but the entire ad should be UGC style, the raw iPhone aesthetic. And then what we want right here, we want handheld shakiness and natural camera movement, phone shifting, and so on. And then we just go into a little bit of what we want to avoid. And then we have the actual structure here loosely based on kind of like how we want it set. So we have the 0 to 2 seconds, start talking, showing immediately. Like mid-conversation, camera might still be adjusting as they find the angle, hooked in with a relatable moment or immediate product reveal. And then we go into 2 to 9 seconds and then 3 to 12 seconds. And this part is key to actually make sure that the dialogue and the script generated by Sora 2 actually kind of like fits into that 12-second limit, because the issue is in that in a lot of cases you have a video script or a video dialogue that Sora 2 creates that gets cut off at the end. So this kind of like ensures that the actual full script is only 12 seconds long. Then we just have the output format right here. So we have kind of like the script and then the breakdown of the seconds. So 0 to 2 seconds, 2 to 9, and then 9 to 12. So we have this. We then optimize the prompt that we sent using this framework, map that in the master prompt set node right here, where we just have all of the fields, which we then pass into the main AI agent right here, which is basically a video scene prompt expander. We have some guidelines right here upon or how to actually structure everything. So we have is just detailed video prompts based on the user's input, always mimicking the format, tone, and structure of a provided master prompt. Then we just have some guidance, some output, and then some examples right here. Once that's done, we log the prompt inside of Airtable. And once that part is done, we then trigger the second part of the flow, which then grabs the actual prompt from Airtable. We grab the reference image again. We map everything right here in the set node where we have the prompt. We have the public image URL of the reference image and the aspect ratio, which we then pass into Kai AI, which is our platform for creating the video using Sora 2's API. Then we essentially just run through the entire flow here to generate the video. We would have a wait node right here, which waits for 5 minutes to allow for the video to generate. Once that's done, we grab the actual video, we grab the public URL, which we then upload into a Google Drive folder. Then we just log the video result, and then we update Airtable with the finished row right here, which contains the prompt used, the video production status, the video URL, and then the format and dates. Okay, so you can spy on your competitors' longest running top performing video ads, and you can now create high quality AI UGC videos. But most of you are still stuck creating static ads manually, so this next AI flow shows you how you can take care of that as well. Quick thing before we move on, if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself that you need these kinds of systems set up for your business, but you don't have the time or technical ability to do so, that's exactly what I do. I build these systems done for you for agencies and brands. There's a link in the description below to book a quick call. No pressure, just to see if it's a good fit. With that said, let's keep it going. So for this next automation, we are using Nano Banana Google Gemini with N8N to create image ads. And what I've been enjoying doing a lot lately is using more so kind of like mood board images, more so kind of like lifestyle vibey images instead of straight ads, because we do know that Google Gemini still struggles a lot with text. If you have a lot of text heavy ads, the output won't really be as good, but you can see here that in a lot of cases what we're doing is we're just uploading a very simple product photo and a very simple reference image like this, and then we get output which looks like this. Obviously the ideal would have been to kind of like get the background image and this one edited as well, but in a lot of cases it does a really good job taking the reference image and generating a pretty clean variation, as you can see right here. So I mean, this one looks amazing, really cool based off of this one right here. So this is really interesting. So I figured I'd take you through the entire flow of finding a image, uploading it, and then checking out the automation on the back end. All right, so we have a reference image. So I'm just going to take the reference image and upload that right here. And I'm going to take the BrezCan for another example here. In this case, I'm going to create 10 variations. I'm just going to call this BrezCan number 5, and we're going to trigger the flow to run. And we will see that on the back end, this triggers the N8N execution to begin. There we go. The flow has now started. So I'm just going to wait for the flow to complete, and then I will be back. All right, we are back. That took about 7 minutes and 43 seconds to complete. So just taking a look at the output again right here, we have this folder where we have the 10 images created. Now, if we take a look at the first one, not the best. That one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good. A little bit of a difference in the thickness of the can. That one looks pretty good. That one is obviously off. That one isn't great around the mouth area. That one is obviously off. This one looks good. And that one looks good. And that one looks obviously off. So, I mean, like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 were pretty solid. And that's kind of like what I'm seeing at the moment, that it's definitely more of a volume game where you want to upload or generate a bunch of variations, and then you pick the top 1 to 2, 3 ads that look good. So you can obviously come in and generate as many variations as you want. You can upload multiple reference ads and then just have the entire flow go through and generate everything. In terms of the actual N8N flow, it's pretty simple. We, as always, get the search request here from Airtable. We then generate the folder for uploading the new images at the end. Then we essentially just grab the reference image, which in this case is the image we uploaded to Airtable. We upload that to Cloudinary to get the public URL, which you can then pass into Nano later. We then do a quick analysis using OpenAI's Analyze Image node. Then we just map out some of the fields here with the analysis and the public URL. We aggregate that and pass everything into a second set node right here where we have the product URL, we have the reference image URL, we have the number of images to create, we have the reference analysis, and then we have the actual product analysis. Then we just pass this into the main AI agent right here with the user message being to be an expert prompt engineer. It has received 2 separate text analysis. You have the product analysis and the reference scene analysis, which in this case is just the reference image. Using the information from both text analysis, generate 1 concise paragraph that instructs an image generation model on how to perform the following tasks. Then we just have it go through and then update basically the product image with the reference image. Then we have the final prompt right here, as you can see, is replace the yellow yerba mate can with the tall, sleek aluminum can from Brez Social Tonic, placing it securely within the hand in the foreground, exactly as we wanted it. Then we just pass the reference image and our image along with the prompt into Nano Banana. I won't open up the entire code.json file right here because it has the API, but we essentially just pass it into Nano Banana and then we just wait for the entire run to finish. We then convert the finished images into a base64 string, which we can then upload back into Google Drive with the finished folder. And then we just update Airtable at the very end with the finished results, which is this. And that's how you can use Nano Banana plus N8N to generate as many images as you want. Now, this next system is the only one you need to generate banger ads that scale like crazy. So this next system actually uses a mix of some manual processes, just copy and pasting pre-built prompts into ChatGPT deep research, as well as leveraging some of the AI automations that we have built. I won't go through the entire flow in this video because I actually just posted a 47-minute long video going through this entire process. So if you are interested in that, feel free to check out that video. But essentially the goal of this entire system is from start to finish within an hour or two tops, going through and from the beginning here, generating a research map that surfaces your competitor brands and unlocks their positioning, their traction signals, and how you as a brand can differentiate yourself from them. We then start going through and doing some deep research on our own brand to generate a pretty comprehensive research analysis. Then we start going through and surfacing Amazon products to potentially scrape and Reddit keywords and subreddits to scrape to generate some marketing insights. Then we start actually leveraging some of the AI automations that we've built. So we use the insights from 1C to scrape the Amazon reviews on products we surfaced above. We then do the same for Reddit threads and subreddits. We then go through and scrape TikTok videos and Facebook ads based on the insights generated from 1C as well as the 1A report right here. And then we started going through and extracting insights based on all of the scraped data that we have. So we started going through and extracting market sentiment from the Amazon reviews. We pull all of the data from TikTok videos and the Facebook ads that we scraped and pull the sentiment and analysis from the top performing ads. We then do kind of like an 80-20 meta-analysis on both deep research reports that we have above based on the competitor brands and based on our own deep research to do a kind of like, again, meta-analysis and 80-20 on the top insights. And then we do a analysis on the Reddit threads that we pulled. Then we start taking all of those insights and turning that into angles to target. So the goal here is to take all of these insights and rank them into what the most fruitful angles, avatars, and problems to target will be. We start ranking this by the market size, the emotional pull, and our product congruence. Then we start mapping out the highest potential lowest hanging fruit customers in terms of the awareness level. So the goal here is to decide which of the awareness levels have the lowest hanging fruit in terms of opportunity to test and highest chance of converting. Then we start going through and mapping out the unique mechanism that our product has and tying that into the angles, with the entire goal here being that we have a unique mechanism for our product or brand, and now our goal here is to tie it into the problems that the market and our avatars are talking about. Then we just go through and start pulling the winning ad structures from the competitor ads that we pulled before we lastly start writing and briefing new ads. So again, essentially the entire goal of this system is going from zero data or a very low amount of data and insights on your market to having a full in-depth overview of the market, your competitors, your own product, what the awareness levels to hit, what the avatars to hit are, and the top ad structures to actually hit them with. Okay, moving on. So if you spend hours scrolling through TikTok, analyzing trends, and finding the top videos in your niche, this next automation will do that for you. So for this next automation, we are scraping TikTok videos and reverse engineering and analyzing what made them go viral. So we start off by filling out a simple form here inside of Airtable where we can add in the description. The key thing here that we want to add in is if we want to scrape based on specific keywords or if we want to scrape an entire account. In this case, we can just type in a specific keyword, in this case, electrolytes. We can just type in the max amount of results that we want. So we could just do 10 videos. If we want to specify a minimum view count, we could do that. So let's just say 10K videos, and then the date range. So we could do past 90 days, and then we just hit launch. Now this triggers the first flow to run here on the back end, which is kind of the master flow, which based on the record ID, which in this case would either be the keyword or the account that we are scraping, triggers two different subflows to run. Now I just ran this for the keyword electrolytes, as you can see right up here that we just ran. If I just open this up, we wanted 10 videos that had at least 10,000 views within the past 30 days, and we have the results right here. So in terms of the flow, this triggered the subflow right here that scrapes based on the keyword. So if I just open this up, you'll see here that we essentially got the keywords, which in this case was electrolytes. We had the date range mapped out, the request ID, and the minimum number of views, and the max amount of videos that we want pulled back. Then we just pass the data into Appify's TikTok node for scraping videos. We get the data ID, which in this case contains all of the output right here that we need in terms of the links for all of the TikTok videos that we had returned from Appify. We then basically just register if a failure hits when we are scraping. If not, we continue on, and then we hit another set node right here where we start mapping out the output from Appify, which includes the caption of the video, the actual video URL from TikTok. So we actually have the full video scrape right here. We map the URL, the likes, the view count, the comment count, how many shares, the timestamp, the username of the account, the keyword that we scraped, and then the download video URL, the engagement rate, basically just a ton of data that we got from Appify. Then we basically just go through a couple of filtering nodes right here just to filter out any videos that have less than the set amount that we had, which in this case was 10,000 views. We also then filter by date range posted, and then lastly filter by engagement. And then we run through another if node right here where we essentially just filter our route based on if the video actually has a transcript or not. And if it does, we then run through another sub workflow right here, which is actually transcribing the video, which in this case, we basically just download the video, we pass that into Google Gemini to transcribe the video, including full timestamps, and then we just map that as the actual transcription right here. Then we essentially just run through the flow and then update Airtable here at the end with the ID, with the keyword, and all of the data again. So the publish date, the views, likes, comments, shares, the caption, the transcript, the video URL, the cover image, and the duration, and then the request here. Now going into Airtable, that looks something like this, where we have all of the runs or the returns of the runs, where we have the keyword that we scraped for, the user name account of the TikTok account that we scraped from, the publish date of the video, and then we have some video stats in terms of views, likes, comments, and shares. Then we actually have the transcript or the caption right here. Then we actually have the video URLs and then the cover image for the video. Then we take it a little bit of a step further right here where we can start doing some analysis on the actual video and on the actual transcript. So you can see right here at the bottom that we have some of the videos that we just returned for electrolytes. So if I just want to choose, let's choose, for example, that one was pretty short. I don't want to do that one. Let's take this video right here by Nurse in the Making Christine. So in this case, this video had 198,000 views, tons of likes, decent amount of comments, and a solid amount of shares as well. So if I just go over here, we can then just take a quick look at the actual video first.
You need to know if a patient has too much or too little of a certain electrolyte. There are so many different medications that affect electrolytes. Sodium is one of those you're just gonna have to commit to memory. The normal range is 135 to 145.
Cool. In that case, let's just say that we want to analyze both the actual script of the video and the visuals of the video too. In that case, we can just check off both of these check marks right here. So we want to analyze the actual transcript and then we want to analyze the actual video. This will trigger our two subflows, which in this case is actually analyzing the transcript, and the second one is for analyzing the actual video. We'll see that the execution will be firing off for both of these in just a second. So this one actually looks like it already fired just in a couple of seconds, and this one hasn't been triggered yet. But for this one, let's just go back into Airtable. We can see that if we do the transcript analysis, we will see that the video is down here at the bottom, and we have the actual transcript. Let's talk about electrolytes. You need to know if the patient has too much or too little of a certain electrolyte. Okay, sounds good. And then we go into the actual transcript analysis. This ad is a concise educational piece of targeting a specific niche. So we have the awareness level this video is hitting. So we have a problem aware audience. The ad starts by stating, let's talk about electrolytes. You need to know if the patient has too much or too little. Then we go into the main avatar, in this case, students or professionals in healthcare, psychographics, goals, fears, implicit identity cues. Then we go into the hook analysis, which in this case is let's talk about electrolytes. Then we go into the core promise and mechanism, any emotional or psychological triggers, and then we just break down the actual script structure. And now we can see here that the video analysis flow is running, and let's just give this a second to complete. Okay, that completed in about 25 seconds. If we go back into Airtable and do the video analysis, we will see that we have the video here that we chose to analyze, and then we have the actual analysis. So we have the opening hook. This video opens with a friendly, professional looking woman in medical scrubs. Then we do a scene by scene breakdown, mid shot of the woman in scrubs, second 7 to 12, 12 to 18, 18 to 29, and so on. Then we go into any product integration, if any. We do a visual storytelling and emotion analysis. Then we go into the editing style and the flow, and then we do a call to action and closing visual, and then any creative takeaways here at the end. Obviously, in terms of the actual flows, they're very, very basic and simple. We just grab the record ID here from Airtable with the analysis request, which in this case is the transcript, which we pass into a base chain LLM, where we have the prompt here being a senior D2C marketing strategist and creative analysis. The task here is to analyze ad transcripts and extract key marketing insights. Then we just have the input, which in this case will be the full transcript, and then the task is to analyze only the transcript and infer structure, tone, and creative intent based on the language and pacing. And then we just have the breakdown, which we just looked at. So we have the awareness level, the avatar, the hook analysis, and so on. Same thing with the video analysis. We actually just pull the video URL, which in this case is the TikTok video that we pass into Google Gemini. In this case, the prompt is pretty similar. It's acting as a creative strategist and video analysis for D2C brands. The task is to visually deconstruct short form video ads to identify what makes them effective and how they're structured. So we have the input again here, and then the task is to focus on the visual and creative storytelling part, and then provide a concise breakdown with the following sections, where we have the opening hook, the scene by scene breakdown, the product integration, and so on. Then we just update Airtable with the final results. And that's it. In terms of the TikTok scraper, we obviously have tons of more videos here, but I won't go through any other analysis for now. So we just have the full library right here of all of the return videos that you have scraped. And then you can just do as many analysis as you want for all of the videos right here, which you just have nice and handy inside of Airtable. Now, this next AI system scrapes Reddit for pain points around your product or your niche, so you can use them in your ads. This is how it works. This one we run inside of N8N. We trigger it inside of this Airtable dashboard right here, where we essentially just have a field here for internal description. If it's running for a specific client, you can add that in. But the main things here that we want to add in is if we want to scrape based on a specific keyword or a subreddit, we just add this in right here. So AI tools, for example, we choose the number of posts that we want to scrape. In this case, let's just do 50, and then we just hit run search. That triggers the search history right here. You can see that we did a test earlier for liquid IV, where the status is now complete. And this essentially triggers the N8N flow on the back end, where we, via webhook, pull in the search request, which in this case is either a specific keyword that we want to scrape for or a entire subreddit. We then pass the keyword or the subreddit into the Reddit node down here. We grab all of the associated comments with the entire subreddit, or for a specific post, we do the exact same. We then pass everything into a AI agent node right here, which is acting as a ruthless Reddit VOC miner. The job is to extract first-person language and ranked insights that copywriters can paste directly into ads and scripts. Then we just go through kind of like some formatting rules right here in terms of like the output, what to scan for, inclusion rules, and then a extraction checklist in terms of like what to actually include in the report verbatim where applicable. So like symptoms, experiences, solutions tried, results, fears, triggers, language patterns, and so on. We then also actually map all of the raw scraped posts into a Google Doc for reference later. But we then essentially take all of the scraped posts, run through the AI node to do the analysis. We turn that into a markdown file, change that over to a Google Doc, and then update Airtable, which with the finished report, which looks like this, where we have the actual report and all the scraped posts as a raw output in a Google Doc. So this page is obviously 76 pages long with the main post and all of the comments associated with that post. And then for the actual report itself, we have a format right here where we have the snapshot in terms of how many threads we scanned and comments. We then go through the top 10 themes, the top 20 keywords. We then go into a frequency table here in terms of like the theme, how many times that specific theme was mentioned, and a representative quote and the actual source link where the quote came from. We then go through a quote bank here of like verbatim copy and paste insights in terms of like symptoms mentioned, solutions tried, results mentioned, any needs and desires mentioned, fears and objections mentioned, barriers, triggers, metaphors, inside jokes or slang. Then we go into more specific language patterns and jargon, any search terms mentioned, a matrix right here in terms of like other solutions or brands or protocol, the reason they tried them, the duration or dose, and the outcome, as well as any side effects mentioned and the overall sentiment. Then we go into some more needs, desires, fears, objections, and barriers. Basically an overall kind of like analysis on what the top themes are and how many times it was actually mentioned. Then we go into the end here with some ad ready building blocks in terms of potential hooks, potential problem lines, and potential proof or insight lines. Then we just have some CTA seed lines at the bottom and then all of these source links. So Reddit gave you the pain points and the top themes mentioned, but this last automation might be the most important one, where we now are scraping Amazon reviews. This is where your customers are already buying, so stick around for the last one. All right, and for the final workflow right here, we are now scraping Amazon reviews. Obviously, it's a huge platform where all of the buyers are, and the goal here is to scrape products to generate some insights around gaps in the market, what people like, dislike about either your own products or competitor products or whatever. But the goal is to basically get insights from actual buyers. So as with the other automations, we trigger this based off of a Airtable dashboard right here, where we can just have a internal description field. If we're running this for a specific client, we can add this in. The only thing we need to add in is a product URL and the number of reviews that we want to scrape. That triggers the flow to end-to-end via a webhook where we get the actual search request. We then basically just prepare the Appify request here using a code node. So we scrape a X number of reviews per star. So in this case, if you would have added in that you wanted to scrape 100 reviews down here, we would be scraping 100 one-star reviews, 100 two-star reviews, and so on. We then pass the URL into Appify, which is the actor that is actually scraping Amazon for us. We then aggregate all of the reviews, which we then append into a Google Sheet. But then we basically send the full aggregation of all of these scraped reviews into a AI agent, which, very similar to the Reddit one, is acting as a Amazon VOC miner. The job is to extract first-person customer language and ranked insights that copywriters can paste directly into ads and scripts. Pretty much the exact same formatting here in terms of how we set up the Reddit one. So we have the same output contract in terms of like what to scan for, the inclusion rules, and the extraction checklist. We then pass the full analysis into a markdown node. We then change that over into a Google Doc, and then we update Airtable with the finished report, where we have the research doc and all of the scraped reviews. So we have the script reviews right here with the title, the text, the date, the rating, and the actual review URL. We have the actual analysis right here. Again, very similar to the Reddit one, we have the number of reviews we scanned, and then we go into the top 10 themes, the top 20 keywords, the frequency table, the quote bank, any language patterns, a comparison terms right here, a solutions tried matrix, some specific needs, desires, fears, objections, and barriers mentioned, and how many times it has been mentioned. And then at the end, some ad ready building blocks for hooks, for problem lines, proof and insight lines, CTA lines, and then all of the sources at the bottom. So those are the 7 AI systems. But here's the thing, you don't have to start by building every single one right away. Just start with the one that solves your biggest bottleneck. Maybe it's the Reddit analysis eating 3 hours of your week, or maybe it's creative production. Just pick one, build it, let it run for a few weeks and test, and then just stack on the next one. That's how these systems compound. But if you want me to build these kinds of AI systems for your agency or brand, click the first link in the description below to book a free call with me. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it a lot. Subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.